Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me on a Monday morning, and congratulations because you're taking 10 minutes to get more either from your career or your teams. So today is mostly about getting more from your teams. It's for my heads of department, my C-suite, and even my founders of smaller tech companies. So what I've seen from my conversations and work with companies in the industry, including my 15-year stint that I'm celebrating this year, I've created the Commercial Velocity Map, and I'll be talking you through that today. So the goal here is to understand where your company or your team is sitting within your company, so you know what to do next to keep people moving in the right direction, but also with the right skill set. So as I go along, listen out for where you believe your company is or your team is, and be honest. It's not about what you think you've done in these areas. It's about how it's actually playing out on the ground and the whole team, and if the front line is enacting what you need them to enact. So there's two key elements of getting your team up to what I'm calling commercial velocity. I've done it wrong already. The north-south arrow is the direction that you're going in. So the direction that you're going in, it means a clear vision of where your company or your team is heading, which the whole team understands. So this needs to be formed into a strategy, which can be used to make decisions about priorities, for example. And you need everyone in the company to get it and know how it applies to their role, meaning it needs to be simple and straightforward and make it really clear what you're doing and what you're not doing. So that can look like, for example, having a really clear ICP, having really clear guardrails on commercial decisions or financial decisions, having a clear marketing strategy with a clear focus, or a really clear buying strategy about which hotels you want to be working with, for example. Now, because I did it wrong. In this direction, we're looking at speed. Speed is how well and how efficiently your team is executing on the job, and if they keep improving in their role. So in our industry, that could look like hotel industry specific knowledge, hotel specific language that helps your team be successful. They might also need sales or account management skills that they need to brush up on. Communication skills, negotiation skills. None of this stuff comes naturally. We think people are made salespeople. They can have the right attitude and the right potential, but we need to help them get over the line. It could also look like leadership skills for your managers, so they can coach their teams to get the most out of them, and the whole team taking ownership on getting the job done, right? If you have your direction sorted, but no one's taking ownership, you're going to be moving very slowly and not at speed at all. So, by the way, let me know if you've got any questions or comments, because I'll keep an eye on the comments over here and I'd love to hear from you. So starting from the bottom left, where you haven't got either the speed or the direction, you are taxiing. What does this look like? You're likely maybe to be a startup, so you're literally just beginning to move into the industry. It could be your first attempt at buying from hotels or selling to hotels, so of course you're not quite there yet. Or you might be a bit of a dysfunctional company with rather an unsupportive or maybe even a toxic environment. I know that can be hard to admit if it's your company. So it's important to notice that when you're taxiing, you're not at a total standstill. You are expending energy. Of course you're doing stuff. Of course you're working hard. Like we all most people I talk to like to work hard. But without a really clear direction to move in, and without the right skills to get you there and keep you moving, you kind of just remain on the ground expending energy. So you need to get specific about what you want to get done. So what might you see if you're taxiing? You might notice your team is working on different priorities. They might not be collaborating, or they might even be clashing in decision-making moments. And remember, as the leader, your idea might be really clear to you, and you might even feel frustrated that no one else gets it. It might feel a bit like herding cats, but that's where translating the direction down to different layers is really important. And then if you're taxiing, when it comes to meeting your hotel buyers or suppliers, you might notice that somehow, despite your best intentions, you just can't get them to see the value of the product that you're bringing to them. And maybe despite those cheery and positive sounding calls, the deals just aren't closing. There might also be a lack of discipline in terms of your pipeline forecasting, sales hygiene, meaning you don't have a clear view on when things will turn around and start improving. So moving over here, this is where you've got all the speed and the skills, but you haven't got the clear direction. And this is where you're circling. So the direction isn't clear or up to date or maybe changing with the times, but the team is still working hard, okay? They're still slogging and they've got skills. I would say a lot of companies are actually over here, especially more established companies, trundling along without really reviewing their plans and their processes. Maybe the CEO does have a vision for something new or bigger, but she or he can't translate it down to the team. Or the team isn't stepping up to the new vision, so they stick in their comfort zone. So here, your go-to-market team or your frontline team is doing what they've always done, keeping busy with the usual tasks, renewing contracts, loading things in the system, hoping that, hopefully at least meeting their buyers or suppliers, but not really breaking any new ground. The problem is, what got you here won't get you to the next level, right? Especially when AI and technology is changing so fast in our industry that's not really used to that. We're moving from a high touch, low tech industry, and now we need to be high tech and high touch. And is your team ready to do that and follow you on that vision? So will they choose you on the journey in the direction that you want to go in and adapt to selling those new products that your company's creating? Or will they stick in their comfort zone, keep doing what they're always doing? So they're up in the air, but they're just circling. If you've got the opposite problem, you've got fantastic direction, but you don't have the hotel industry or commercial skills you need, you are ready for takeoff. So this is the moment when you've got all of, you're ramping up and all engines are ready to go, but you haven't quite started moving yet. So this could be companies that are moving into the hotel space after success in another industry, but with a different background. So they might need support with the nuances of the industry. You can't just come from somewhere else and do hotels, unfortunately. Or companies where the CEO can inspire the team, but maybe doesn't have the expertise or skill to train and coach the team to achieve what she or he wants to get in the travel industry. So over here, companies can be very surprised by the really long buying cycles that happen within hotels, the really complex nature of the stakeholders that there are in hotel management, the many, many layers, and find themselves tripping up on the absolute mountain of hotel-specific acronyms. And the team might have the best of intentions, but be fumbling in the dark as to how to execute because their sales or account management or negotiation skills need brushing up. So does your team really know what makes their partners tick? What keeps a revenue manager or a hotel owner up at night? And without that, they can't convey the true value of your product in a really crowded market and you're kind of spinning your wheels, but not yet taking off. And the goal is to get up here to what I've called commercial velocity. That means the company has a clear vision and direction. So always looking at new perspectives, keeping on top of industry changes. That's communicated to the whole team in a clear and simple way, who are motivated and inspired by this future direction of the company. And the team is also upskilled, equipped with knowledge, skills and language they need to land the right message with their hotel partners and bring them along on the journey with them. The whole thing is reviewed and tweaked as needed because no plan is static when the world is moving so fast, and we know the travel industry has many ups and downs that we need to react to quickly. So if you want to get over here to commercial velocity but feel that you're in one of the other three quadrants, how do we get there? I work with the pilot principle, which I'm very pleased I've just submitted my trademark for. So the pilot principle is the 4 key pillars of getting more from your career, but also from your teams. And they are self-leadership, so getting the team to step up and take control, upskilling your team in what they really, really need, support, so you need to be an environment where you're supporting your team to grow, and slick communication. This creates the right conditions for you to figure out what's needed in your company. So leveraging my knowledge and expertise and my training and coaching of your team, it will leave you with a really clear plan to execute and the right skills. So when those skilled workers take the initiative to lead themselves, we see really strong individual achievements, right? So great deals signed, moving fast, sound commercial decision-making. And when you're working with the right support as well, and provided the chance to enhance their skills, that's where your teams are in a growth environment. That's the way to get long-term commercial edge, because you'll be a company people want to work for and you'll have the most skilled and committed workforce. These are our human resources, right? So to get your people working together to reach a really clear destination, you need a culture of support together with the right communication from top down and among the team. This creates trust, means everyone knows where they stand in the journey to that destination. And when individuals know where they want to go because they've taken ownership and they know how to communicate it to those around them, they're on their own purposeful journey, meaning career conversations become easier and more meaningful, and you have pilots in your teams, not passengers. So if you'd like to have a chat about this or understand how I could support your commercial team in the travel industry, whether you think you're taxiing, circling, or maybe ready for takeoff, drop me a note or book in a call. I would love to have a chat with you. And please let me know any questions in the comments. Thank you and have a lovely week.